Hello and welcome to PlayStation Racer. My name is Mitchell Morgan, and in this video we are revisiting the track at Maggiore. We are going back to the GT Cup in our GR3 car, and we're going to try and build on what we learned in the circuit experience to try and turn that second place into a first place win. Now this is a new channel, I am trying to grow it, so please, if you haven't already subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button and following me along. Every subscription really helps, and it would be very much appreciated. So back to the race. We come through the first corner. It looks like we've done the Aston Martin quite nicely and cleanly, and we're now looking at getting onto this RX Vision and also the McLaren, just looking different ways through here. And that was terrible. So yes, not a lot that can be said about that. You've got to be aware of the other cars, where they are, whether doors are going to close. Oh, that was terrible. So we just restarted that one. Not happy at all about that. And so in this particular run, I am a lot more cautious. We've still done the Aston Martin into the first corner, but being a lot more cautious with the AI. They do tend to brake at some strange places, and they do tend to go through corners a lot slower than they could. Like the BMW there really broke out much more than I would have thought, and just a slight tap on the rear bumper, but we have gone through. I need to be careful that I don't do that when I'm racing online, because that really will upset people. So learning from that, we just backed out of the move on the 911 there, because that door was always going to close. That move was never on, and I have to learn to back out of those moves that are a little bit sort of 50-50 and just wait for another time to do a clean overtake. We've got a much better run on the 911 now. Closing him down a little bit, just backing out slightly. Just looking for different ways around the car, and as we come down this straight, I'm just thinking, okay, where are we going to go? We're going to go to the inside. We're going to do the Porsche. Had the opportunity to do the McLaren as well and get it slowed down so we didn't ram the Audi. So that was a really cool move that I was really pleased with. That Audi gets a little bit sideways, so we go to the right, quick reaction to snatch third place, and still on lap one and making really good headway. The Lamborghini in front is also getting a little bit loose. Broke mid-corner, which I wasn't expecting, and a slight nudge, and we go through. So BTCC, you would get away with those. That's the racing that I used to watch and love back in the 80s and 90s, and still do. But you can't do those BTCC type moves online. So as I said, I really need to work on my racecraft. Did a nice first corner there to get us onto the back of this BMW Z4. I do like the Z4. I had one of the early E83s, I think, and I've currently got one of the new shape, probably the 89. So it's the one after the one that we're chasing down. So I've got a little bit of a soft spot for the BMW Z4. But in this instance, we want to see him in our rear view mirror rather than sitting watching him race. So we're just going to concentrate on our braking points and just looking for ways that we might be able to pull a move on this BMW. Through the curves here, it's unlikely to happen, but then an opportunity opens up. You see, that BMW, if that was a real person, would have just been hammering it through there and we would have followed. But he put the brakes on and saw the brake lights flash and just jinked out to one side, managed to pull a move on him, and already we are now 0.7 seconds clear. Be really careful into this tight right-hander, put the power down early to go up the hill. Again, using all of the experience that we got from the circuit experience to try and build this gap to the car behind. Now I've got to be aware that the gap is only 1.3 seconds, so any mistake on my part, any spin, any hitting of the walls or anything like that would really jeopardize this race and could very easily bring the BMW right onto the back of us. So we're looking for a good exit on the last corner, which I think we got, and we are pulling away ever so slightly. There really isn't very much in it at all. Into the first corner, we did a nice first corner, a nice second corner. I'm feeling a little bit under pressure here to continue to build this gap. It's nice that the gap is building. So we're 1.7. I did see 2 a moment ago, up to 1.8. So the gap is building ever so slightly in some areas, but the cars behind are coming back to us. They are spreading out a little bit. There seems to be 2 groups, a larger, longer group to the rear and a smaller, bunched up pack that are very close behind me. But we are managing to maintain, well, we were managing to maintain this 1.7 lead. That's going to drop significantly now because we went very wide on the entry to these curves where I'm normally quite quick, and that brings the car behind right onto the back of us, potentially into the slipstream down this straight, which really didn't help at all. Although I have managed to get it back out to 1 second by that corner, so I think we might have got away with that. We'd be brave through here, get up on the curb, keep the power on, get it turned, get it the front rotated into that corner. We back up to 1.4 seconds, brave through these 2 right-handers, and see if we can try and get that time out to 2 seconds to give us just a little bit of a breathing space. Unfortunately, they've got a better run through there, so we're still at 1.4, and as we come up through the start-finish straight and our 4th lap, we have a quick look behind. We are 1.6 seconds. If you're going to look behind, be careful when you do it. There's a temptation to do it on some of the smaller straights. That has caught me out a number of times. So I tend to just try and look backwards. If I haven't got the mirror up, I'm tending to use this view more and more now for racing. I tend to just use the rear view view. Bad choice of words there, but I tend to look out the back when I'm on a long straights and I know that there is no pressures and no worries. So again, I'd like to have got this gap out to 2 seconds, but we are hovering around the 1.4 mark-ish, so the cars behind are definitely gaining on me, whether they're using slipstreaming tactics and the like to catch. I am certainly not dropping them at this point. Maybe I'm not driving quite as quickly as I could. I don't want to take too many risks, so that might be another reason why we are just managing the gap here. You don't want to brake too late and put it into the gravel or risk a spin. It's better to get a win by half a second or second than have a problem and end up losing it by 20 seconds. So keeping this margin probably between 1.5 and 2 seconds is comfortable. It seems to be manageable. You can see at the looking at the map that the field behind is definitely spreading out a little bit at the moment, but this little group of cars that are right behind me is still only around about 1.5 to 2 seconds behind, so they're really keeping me honest, but we are managing the gap, which is what this is all about as we go into the final lap. So really thinking about everything that we learnt in the circuit experience, putting all of that to good use, has managed to get us through the traffic into first place, and then from here on it's been a case of just soaking up the pressure and not making any mistakes that would jeopardize this first place. So down into this very strange, it's not quite a hairpin, but almost like a hairpin. Getting some good traction through there. Again, the cars behind are still with me. still pushing, still 1.7 through the curves, using the curves, trying to keep it as smooth as we can, using all of the track. And here I'm using fifth gear to make sure that we can keep the traction rather than spinning up and spinning out. So looks like the fastest lap has gone to Kurlinski. I don't even know where they are on the leaderboard. They seem to be further back than 8th place, but that's a pretty nice time, considering my times have been a 2:05 and a 1:59, 2 minutes and another 1:59. So I'm not a million miles away from fastest lap. So deciding just to push it on a little bit. You can see I'm using more of the track at the moment. We have now got the gap out to 2.3 whilst we are pushing harder and going for this fastest lap. Just through the last corner, looking to hug that curb and then a straight run to the line. Can we do it? Can we get fastest lap? Oh, that was close. That was close. I'm not sure that we managed to do it, to be quite honest. Yes, we did. We did manage to get fastest lap, so really pushing it at the end. There's a fine line between getting a race win and getting a race win with the fastest lap. I was feeling quite good towards the end of that race, so I went for it. But very, very often when I do the fastest lap, I can throw away the win. So you do want to think, do you want to get a safe win or do you want to get a fastest lap? Sometimes they don't always go hand in hand. And I really enjoyed that race, so I'm just going to leave the video to run. We did the original race at the beginning of this session where we came in second. We then did the circuit experience to get a lot more experience of this racetrack and where the braking zones are, the turning points, where we can get the power down, where the overtaking points might be. And that really, really helped us to cement first place in this race. And although there were a couple of little moments, a couple of little bumps, which I was not overly happy about, I did try and keep this race as clean as possible. So I'm just going to sit back now and just enjoy the rest of this race, and I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. So I do really like these little videos that they'll do afterwards, these replays. There are lots of different views that you can get. This is the external view, which I actually quite like. It's like watching it on the television. But there are views inside the car, and you can have a follow cam and obviously the bonnet cam that I did much of the race with. And it's often nice just to flick through some of these other views and see what they're like. So just enjoy watching this Super running through these corners. You can see the BMWs really hunting me down. The lights are blazing, and there is quite a queue behind, and I didn't actually realise that they were as close as they are. It's when you watch these replays that you do actually start to realise how close these cars are, and one little mistake and it can really all be over. So this is one of the other views. This is the driver perspective, the driver eye view. I do sometimes race with this view. I want to get a little bit more realistic. It is more difficult because it's significantly more difficult to pick out the apexes. You've got far less view of the track. You've got far less peripheral vision in this particular view. But it is a view that I do like to run in occasionally. It's just coming through these first few corners. Seem to be dropping the BMW behind us at the moment. In this view, we have the benefit of the mirror towards the top left of the windscreen, but it is very, very difficult to tell how far those cars are behind. So if I am in this view when I'm racing, I am using the mirrors, but I also look at the time difference between the car behind and myself, because occasionally I have been caught out where I think the car is a lot further away than it really is. I might be a little bit more cautious into a particular corner, and suddenly you find that the car that was behind you is right up alongside you, and if you're not careful you can turn in on them, or you can drift out and run into them. So yeah, if you're going to be running in this view, use the mirror, but also watch the timing differences between you and the car behind. But this is a good view. I enjoy it very much, and like I said, sometimes I will actually race in this view. I don't tend to race in this view when I'm doing the main challenges, so when I'm doing the circuit experience where you've really got to push it as hard as you can. I don't tend to use it for the licenses, but I have used this view quite a lot for when I'm doing arcade racing. I don't use it when I'm playing online against real-world drivers, because again, you need to have that peripheral vision and that wider field of view to make sure that you aren't running into the back of people, turning in on people, sliding out into people and the like. So this is the other view from inside the car. Now this isn't the driver's view. This is what I refer to as the passenger view. So sitting in the passenger seat, as it were. Although you're really sitting, I think, sort of in the back of the car, behind the driver, and it just gives you a view of the steering, of the gear changes, and a slightly wider angle of view, but certainly not one that you want to be racing in, and it isn't actually a view that you can switch to while you're racing. This is purely a view that you can use for the replay. It's lovely being in the car through these really fast sweeping turns, especially when you get them nice, and you really feel the car moving around. And sometimes in my seat I even find myself swaying from side to side as I'm going around the corner. You can really get immersed in these games when they're going really well, and you're feeling one with the car, one with the track, and everything is going really well. It's very, very immersive, and I'm not planning on getting a VR set, but I did have the first VR set where you could just do a single car on the track, and whilst that was a very strange experience, it was also a very good one. I did enjoy it, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be investing in the VR2 anytime soon. So here we go, we just need to get this last corner turned in. I think that we're on lap 5, and we just come over towards the left hand side, take the checkered flag, and our race win done. Mostly because of the circuit experience. That really helped me to better understand the track, and then we managed to win by 1.945 seconds. So the cars behind were certainly keeping me honest right the way through to the end. So that is the Sunday Cup done in first place. The GT Cup is now in first place. So we've won as much money as we can from those 2 races. And we've also done the circuit experience as well, and we've gone all gold. So there's no more money to be had from these tracks. So I think that I'm going to call that a night now, and we will have a look at the licenses in the next video. Although looking at this, it does look like there is an Asia track that's opened. I'll try not to be tempted to run that because I do want to get into the licenses as quickly as possible. We've got a couple of roulette tickets, so we go into the garage across to gifts and we'll see what we get. Can we get another car like we did yesterday? Okay, well, there is a car. We've got 3 lots of money and some parts, and we get the smallest amount of money, probably going to be 5,000. There you go, 5,000 credits, better than nothing. It does take us up to 1.363 million credits. So this has been a really productive session. Oh, we've got another car in here. Can we get the car? No, it's going to be the shock absorbers. Now, I often get parts, but never seem to use them within the game. So we've got parts for a Lexus that we don't even own. It's a little bit annoying. It'd be nice if we were getting cars and cash, but all too often you get the parts. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. We will be looking at the license center in the next video. But for now, thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please consider supporting it with a subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video, hopefully tomorrow. For now, take care. Bye-bye.